First thing after looking at all these different member avatars, look at your class, look at your members in your studio. Okay, consider your studio demographic, and then try to put specific examples or variations of each avatar to the members that you have in your studio. So which of those avatars do you see more of in your classes, the classes that you coach, the classes that you take? And then what are those habits that you have when coaching specific types of these avatars? So then observe those members. So just like coaches, members can become different avatars depending on the class format, depending on how the vibe is for the day with the energy and the environment, and especially who's coaching. They might not admit it. They have their favorite coaches. So always keep that in mind, shift your perspective, get a different idea of it, bounce it off with your fellow coaches about their experiences with different members and how they act with them. When you struggle with these different member avatars, they may appear egotistical, shy, irritable, all those detracting factors, but that doesn't mean we give up on them, right? They're coming into class. They want to come in for that F45 experience, and that's our job, giving them that F45 experience. So if you're struggling to connect with a consistent member, think about other ways to approach that. So look at different ways you as a coach can attack their personality, right? Study the techniques of different coach avatars to give yourself more tools, and then almost treat them like a green star. Get to know them, find their base, and go from there. So from that, let's into the actual member avatars. First one we have is the athlete. So the athlete thrives in the F45 environment. They love to come in and ready to go into it. Right? They're always looking for that next challenge to better themselves. And that can be great for us. That can be used as inspiration for the other members in class, or it may be on the opposite side of that, intimidating to others, right? Especially to our green stars, our first timers. When possible, ideally, you want to give them the partner of another athlete, right? So they're competing with each other. They're pushing through, keeping the energy high. Competition is going to light their fire for that class. And if you don't have another athlete, if you don't have another high energy person like that, then you're going to be in when you can during that class. Okay, right? Because we're all athletes in our own right as well. Give specific challenges. They're going to love to level up the workouts as they go. Maybe not all of them, but they're going to look for that as well. So for you as a coach, instinct is to give them more weight. But keep that in mind. We don't want to do that for everything. Think about tempo, think about time under tension, and different ways to challenge them. They're going to love it. Any type of challenge, and especially different ways to get them to better themselves. And then along with that, being very specific on it, right? Speak their language. So talk metrics, talk weights, talk reps, anything that they can dial in on, and then they can use to push themselves even further. The next one, the student. So just the offshoot of the teacher, coach avatar, right? So the student is the open-minded person that are looking for why we do these movements, why we have these different programmings, different exercises, different classes. And most of the time, they're already bought in to what we have. And all that we have to do as coaches is give them the F45 experience. And it's key. We're a premier brand in the fitness industry. So know the programming, know your playbook. The students that come into class, they're going to get ready to work out. They'll seek you out, make sure you're ready to answer what they have for the class of the day. Prepare your exit strategy. Balance attention across all the members in class, especially if we have those big classes, right? 27, 30, 36. You don't want to get caught up. You can easily get caught up with them talking about different things with as many questions as they can ask. So really be intentional as well. Figure out how to space yourself out. Track their progress. Basically, they're going to take what you give them as homework. So not only will they listen, they're going to practice. They're going to get ready for the next set, the next lap, the next workout next week. So next time that movement comes around, or next time we're in that next class next week, make sure you recognize their attention to detail. Give them that feedback that they're looking for. All right, moving on. The yapper, social butterfly, working out itself may be the second priority to them. They're looking for that social interaction. The yapper can make for a fun environment, but sometimes they can't help themselves to the detriment of working sets during the class. Use them as a tool. You have your green stars, your first timers. They're going to need kind of that energy, that friendly energy. So use that to your benefit, right? With the right balance, they may be your best bet to pair them up with a green star. However, you always got to keep in mind they're talking, right? They're yapping. So if they become distracting, spin it a good way of like, hey, this is the type of community that we have. And then bring that back around to the exercise itself for both of them, or the green star and the yapper. And it's almost like managing them, find the right time to talk with them, socializing before and after class. can kind of fill that need that they have inside without sacrificing the work itself during class, right? They're going to find people to talk to, but try to help them out, help yourself out by interacting to your best judgment. And then if you find them slacking off a little bit, talking a little bit much, make them work for it. Be creative with ways to entice them, with ways to work hard and then socialize as well. All right, ego lifter. Love a lifting day. And they may push others to lift heavy as well, but we want to be able to control that and have them lift smartly. The biggest thing when dealing with these ego lifters is that most of the time they don't know they're the ego lifter. So we got to keep that in mind when navigating these conversations with them. First thing, right, most of the time, lifting heavy will outweigh proper form for them. So look to improve their technique, get the proper weights back on the table for them, for telling them, hey, gauge that core, push those hips back. They're going to get in that and like, oh, I can't do that with this weight. They're going to drop it down so we can dial in that technique. Leading into that next point, use those teaching moments. You don't want to go up to them and say immediately, you're doing it wrong. Stop everything you're doing. We don't want to boost their ego with lifting heavy weights. We don't want to cheer them on when any moment it looks like they can break their back, but we also don't want to tear them down. So find that middle ground, use our knowledge as coaches, get them back to that proper form. Then the last one, all in all, our job in the studio, safety first, right? So your first priority as a coach, keep everyone in class safe, right? Not just the person lifting it, but the people around them as well. Some of our studios are smaller. They can be a little cramped. So definitely be keeping an eye out, be prepared, and you want to be confident in intervening when you need to, especially when dealing with heavyweights. Next one. So we got the lone wolf, no nonsense, ready to work out, waiting for that glass timer to start. So they follow the programming, getting in and out. They're not looking to socialize. So as a coach, they might leave you asking yourself, do I need to coach them at all? Do I need to talk to them at all? A lot of the times they can be introverted. So talk small with them. Some of them may just be quiet. They need time to open up to you, especially if they're new in the studio. If you're a new coach at that studio, they might just need some time. So while they might not need technical coaching in the moment, show them that you're still there, support them in small ways. Doesn't have to be loud, doesn't have to be big or anything like that. Next point, we don't need to be micromanaging them. Hovering over them like that, you may pull them away further from you in that interaction. So coach as you needed to, while still making them feel like they're the ones in control. They're the ones that still have that independence. You really want to just leave them at their own pace with coaching and during those workouts. And lastly, acknowledge their grind. If they don't need help, find those low-key moments. Like I said before, it doesn't have to be loud. You don't need to shout it across the room, but find those low-key moments to show the respect on the progress that they're making in class. Inquire about where they find success with our program because they're bought in, they're coming in, they're doing the work. Get them talking about what they know, making them feel good. Our cardio head, almost think of it like the ego lifter, just in the cardio realm. Happy to get to work. They're there for the Athletica, for red line, ready to go. Sometimes when they come in, that's all the energy we need as coaches, right? They're excited to go on a cardio day, which is a lot of the times the slowest day of the week. But similar to the ego lifter, coaching them involves being the voice of reason. They might not understand the value of intentional pacing and resting, as we have different types of formats, different types of focuses during class. Clock their red zone, right? A lot of them are going to already have a Lionheart, so they'll be up on the TV screens, or they already have an Apple Watch or something like that where they're tracking their heart rate. The problem with that is that a lot of them strive to be in the red zone, the zone 5. So we need to educate them on the importance of heart rate recovery, right? We can touch that red zone. We can touch that zone 5. We don't want to live in it. So offer some active recovery notes as well when they're being a little stubborn and they simply can't sit still, but you want to get them to understand the importance of what we have, right? With the Lionheart, with the heart rate zones. Use their breathing. A lot of the times, that's the biggest thing that goes unaddressed. Breathing, our breathing techniques. You want to be able to breathe out on your exertion. Tell them heart rates can skyrocket from that improper breathing, right? So even if they're not doing anything particularly too crazy, holding their breath, which is a very common thing that people will do, and then they're working against themselves. And then last thing, just kind of keep them in control. You gamify it. Right, provide a challenge that benefits them. They want to do as much as they can in as little time as they can, right? So use that to your advantage. Hey, we got 20 seconds here on this rest break, right? Once that timer turns green, you're going to give me 300 meters on the rower. You got 250 last time. You're going to get 300 this time. Catch that breath. Get ready for it. Here we go. So keep them in control. All right, skeptic. This is a fun one to deal with. They're members. They're ready to better themselves, but they're looking for results first. Work comes second. So coaching them is a great opportunity to not only find their comfort zone, but to embrace them, expand their bubble, not burst it, but get them in class, have them buy in. So first point here, there's a reason for everything. Give step-by-step guidance to increase that buy-in. Roll those shoulders back. That's going to engage your lats. Then you're going to straighten your back and keep your spine stable. Right? When we're holding anything like with that, the barbell, with the deadlift, anything like that. Tell them why we're doing it. They'll see something on the screen, especially if they come in early for class, right, which we want them to do. They're going to see something on the screen. Oh, I hate that exercise. So that they're out immediately before class even starts. Find that reason, explain how that goes so that they can get an understanding of it. Meet them halfway with things. If they're hesitant on your coaching or on whatever cues you're trying to give them, come up with a compromise. For your next set, let's try moving this way and compare how it feels you did on your first set. So meet them halfway. Get them to buy in on some of their own stuff along with yours. Be patient and understanding with them. Sometimes it can feel like they're being annoying, like they're being a nuisance, but see their questions as genuine inquiries rather than disrespect. Acknowledge their question, complaint, whatever they have, and then provide helpful context with them. That's the best, easiest way how we're going to deal with them rather than saying something to shut them out. Shut them down, make them even more unhappy with whatever they see up on the screens. All right, Scrooge seems like they don't want to be there, right? They're the members that walk in the door. They have that frown on their face. They don't look like they want to be there. But like everyone else, they show up for a reason. Most likely that reason doesn't have to do with the gym, right? If the reason that they're frowning is the gym, they wouldn't be coming to the gym. So coaching them takes patience, but a lot of the times it comes with the biggest reward if you're able to get them to crack, get them to smile. They may go to the corner of the back of the room when class is starting. They might isolate themselves. So without forcing it, give them respect, acknowledge them like everyone else. Even if they don't show it, they want to be included. It's going to feel nice for them to feel included and appreciated, just like any other member that we have in our classes. Coach for education. They may not particularly react well to the cheerleader coach. So instead, speak directly to the function of the exercise, push through the heels on this squat. That's going to protect our knees in the long run. That's why we want to do it. Push through the heels, push away from the floor, give them that knowledge and explain rather than just sitting in the back cheering them on when they're just standing there like, what are you doing? And lastly here, build connections with them. And this one isn't going to be one class. This one isn't going to be 1 week, right? It's a process. Build the connections, right? Well, partnering them with a yapper, maybe over time, they're going to start to build a bond with someone else that they can open up with, whether that's a member, whether that's with a coach, you, another coach. It's about these small connections. That's going to be longer term overall as they're going through the classes with them. All right, the renegade. They may make you second guess your coaching abilities because they're dismissive. They may run on their own agenda, not give a second thought to others. You got to keep in mind their lack of self-awareness, their way they handle themselves. It's not your fault as a coach. We can do our best overall with them. It just might be a lost cause most of the time. Don't retaliate. Stay positive. This is your class as the coach, right? You're running it. You're the one in charge. So trust your knowledge. Give them, here's the risk if you ignore this, right? If they want to do it this way, if they want to, going back to the ego lifter, grab a heavier weight that they probably shouldn't lift, but they know better, right? Give them that respect as a coach, as you have. Talk through their why. Like I said, they run on their own agenda, but if they're switching something up, especially in these workouts when it's a squat jump, but they're doing a plank hold for some reason, right? Speak to the programming, ask them why they're doing that, and then see if it's injury, talk with them through the injury. If they don't like it, that's another conversation as well. Talk through their why. Why don't they like a squat? Is it hurting them? They're not feeling it in the right muscle group, whatever it is. Talk through their why. And then hold firm. We leave room for tailoring workouts to suit the individual, but it's not in their right to distract others or confuse others in the gym, right? Whether it's the partner next to them, whether it's the different stations, they don't have that right in our classes. So you look like you're feeling strong today. Let's do this instead. Kind of give two back in control with them without being disrespectful, right? You got to kind of spin it so that they're somewhat in control of it or make them believe like they're in control of it. But this is the class for today. This is the movement for today. Unless it's hurting you, Here's what we got to do. Last thing there, right? If they show up late or they know you're asked, point out your company policies to back you up, right? We have these things in place for them. A lot of the times what I get is like, they don't know about it. Like you do know about it. You just don't care about it. So we have a lot of these things, not just about the workout itself, but showing up late, right? And then you having to deal with them, explain with them later, detracts from the rest of the class. So at the end of the day, a lot of these things are simply non-negotiable. So you need to be prepared to handle this renegade in the right manner. These avatars have extreme characteristics. It's a big spectrum of where all these member avatars is. So go into your next class, ready to coach them, ready to respect wherever they are for that day, for their week, for the class.